I am going to teach you a rule today which is a little bit redundant, because if we've got a bit of common sense, we probably don't need to use that. What's the area of a right angle, or just a triangle? What's the formula we're familiar with? Area equals?
Half base height.
Half base times height. What makes this more challenging than our average year 8 area of a triangle question?
It's angle.
We're not given the height. We need to know this value here, correct? Or we can find this value here, but I'm assuming this one's a bit easier. Happy with that? Anyone now seeing what we have to do? I need to find h. Should I actually call this h in this situation, or should I call it something different? I'll call it x. You'll call it x. Right, from now, call it x.
Is that
O. He did say O.
that could mean many things.
It could mean many things, but he's actually correct. Because if we look at this part of the triangle, this is a 45-degree angle, this is 6, and he said call that O. The reason he said call that O is because it's the opposite when you use trig. So if I want to find my height,
I think you just said O's there.
I get half of my height, which I'm going to use, I'll just do this up here, h equals, well, not h, I won't use h. What trig identity do I need to use? Sine, so I've got sine theta equals op over hypotenuse. What's my hypotenuse? 6. My opposite's x, and my angle is 45. Could I do this tech free? Could I do this tech free or not? What's sine 45? 1 on root 2. Happy with that? So the height of our triangle is, and I'm just going to turn this into root 2 on 2. Are we happy with that? Cool. So the height of our triangle x is really equal to 3 root 2. So I have the height, which is 3 root 2, multiplied by my base, which is 10. So the area of my triangle is 5 times 3, which is 15 root 2 centimetres. We good? Does that make sense? Now, like I said, that's not how we can do it. There is a shortcut. Does anyone see the shortcut that would work? If I drew another triangle, so if I drew a triangle, I'll get rid of this sine stuff here. If I drew another triangle, we should be able to do it on our own, so I shouldn't have to leave that up. If I drew any triangle, we'll call the purple one here. I'm going to call this side, what do you want to call this side? B or C? B? What do you want to call this side? A? Well, let's call it C. Oh, we can go. We can go. What does that make this side? C. So if I want to find the area of this triangle, it's got to equal what? Let's say I know this angle here. What's a general rule? Well, what's the rule? What's the original rule that we had? Half times base times height. What's my, anything with the half, or does the half have to stay? Half's got to stay? What's my base? B, we'll call it B. And what's my height? Actually, I'll call that C, not theta. What's my height? And remember what we did here, ready? When I drew this triangle, this little triangle, we'll call this side A. That's our theta C, right? How do we find the height?
A sine C.
Times A times sine C. Happy with that? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because A, it doesn't matter whether we choose A or B, but let's say we pick A. A is going to be the hypotenuse, and we're always looking for the opposite. So if we've got opposite and hypotenuse, what trig value we're using? Sine, cos, or tan? Sine, and then we rearrange, we multiply both sides by the hypotenuse, and that leaves us with our height. Happy with that? So the area of a triangle equals half. Now we don't actually use it right like that, we write like this. Do I have to write it like that, or can I write it in some other version? Could I write, can I write that? Could I write that? Doesn't matter which way, correct? We can create those sides and label the triangle as we want, providing we do what? Where must our angles be?
In between the two sides.
Yeah, well, opposite our other side, which means between the two non-corresponding sides. Cool? Happy with that? So that's our area of a triangle. We won't need a lot of time on that because it features in our formula sheet. So on the off chance that pops up, my advice would be just note that it's in your formula sheet. It even says area of a triangle. Would that work for a right angle triangle? Good. What's sine of 90? 1. So it's going to be half times base times height. So it's going to work. Cool. So you can use that for your half base height if you want. Much like our sine rule works in every situation, just like our cos rule. We just more often than not use it for what type of triangles? Non-right angle triangles. Cool. Or not triangles where we don't clearly know the height. Cool. Happy with that? We'll do some work on bearings, but there was some questions from 7.2 on Google Classroom that I'll get you to do. So we'll go from there.